What's going on, guys? Hey, I want to come back to you, and I wanted to bring you a video from The View. A couple days ago, they had a guest on there, and this guest was insane. I mean, really was a race baiter. And he said that any law that was made before 1965, you don't have to follow it. I mean, it was made by a white man. A white man. It was made by a honky, probably a racist honky. And he don't have to follow that law. Yeah. I don't think that's gonna work out too well for you. I don't think so. But guys, watch.
What was it about these 10 that solidified it for you?
Yeah, so I set out to start to kind of try to write Project 2029, right? When Republicans come into office, they come in with a sledgehammer, right? They come in smashing things that I hold dear. When Democrats come into office, they come in with like super glue and tape. And so they try to put things back together. So I thought about writing 10 constitutional amendments that'd be super cool if we had. I was like, no. We need to smash the things that they like. We need to smash the things that are holding this country back. And so I came up with 10 laws that we could just be rid of. Not reform, not update for the modern era. 10 things that we can smash if we ever are allowed to get power again that would make this country better tomorrow.
See? Now, I love this book. You are dead on, and it is a fantastic book. One of the laws you write about is playing out right now, the Immigration and Nationality Act. Now, this administration is using this statute to justify the detentions and possible deportations, actually, of visa and green card holders who they seem to deem a threat to U.S. foreign policy. What do you make of the administration's use of the act? And more broadly, is Trump really setting up a First Amendment showdown, which is what Whoopi's been talking about?
Yes, absolutely. One of my premises for the book is that every law passed before the 1965 Voting Rights Act should be presumptively unconstitutional. Right? But because before the 1965 Voting Rights Act, we were functionally an apartheid country. Not everybody who lived here could vote here. So why should I give about some law that some old white man passed in the 1920s, like the Immigration and Nationality Act? When they passed our fundamental immigration law, Congress said in real time that they needed the law to prevent the, quote, mongrelization of the white race by the inferior races. Now I look at that law and I say, I don't think that's so good. I don't think we should still be using it, but we are still using it today. That is the authority that Trump is using to criminalize people and to pull people's visa cards. Marco Rubio, that comes from the 1956 update to the 1921 Act.
Guys, man, we got to start by saying just how ridiculous this man is. I mean, really. And again, man, this Q-tip looking fat boy. I mean, pantsy ass bitch. I mean, yes, I'm sorry. He ain't sitting there saying that, the Democrats have to come in, they have to fix everything, and no, they don't. And again, they can't fix anything. Why? Because again, they destroy everything. They destroy. You can't fix a thing coming from the same place that destroys. You can't. And again, man, it's just like the border. When Biden took office 4 years ago, he inherited a border that was pretty well regulated. It was. And he took control of the border, and then he undid every single thing that Trump did. And then we had a mess. We had a mess. We had the biggest numbers of people coming over the border ever. And they said, well, we need an act of Congress to shut that border up. No, we don't. Trump didn't do it with the act of Congress. Again, he signed a couple of orders and he shut that border up. Well, we need an act of Congress. Why? Because they wanted funding. They wanted funding for their wars. They wanted funding. And not only did they want their funding, but I believe they wanted, 5,000 migrants a day allowed into the country. Again, huge numbers, guys. Huge numbers. But, again, they needed that act of Congress, according to them, and they didn't. And again, that's why the Democrats, they can't fix a thing. They never have. They've never been able to because, again, look at the whole party. Look at the people that vote for them. They're out there destroying Teslas and burning stuff up, acting violent, doing whatever. Again, they're not too different from the party. They vote the way they are, the way they think, emotional. And it's not going to work. And, again, fat boys like this with his Q-tip hair, again, they're pansies. He's an absolute pansy. Again, they don't defend anything. They will never defend this country. And again, we have people, again, that are experts like him that have never done a thing to defend anything at all. They sit around, they're feminine. They're very feminine men. And again, this is what that leads to.
Personally, do not think that I can convince people to open their hearts and minds to immigration. I understand that in our failing country, treating people with respect and decency and humanity is a controversial position. And I cannot change their minds. But we can dang sure make sure that we're not putting people in jail for the crime of existing.
Right.
That we're not putting people in jail for the crime of not filling out the form in triplicate in the right time and submitting it to the right agent.
Man, we're not locking people up because they exist. We're locking people up because they're breaking the law. And again, there's a big difference. They're breaking into our country and they're breaking the law. And that's why we're locking them up. And you're talking about being compassionate. You don't know what that means. You truly don't. You have to be strong. You have to be strong in order to be compassionate. Strong, like Trump. You got to be willing to be disliked in order to do the right thing. You don't even know what the right thing is. You think being compassionate means acting compassionate, acting like you're good, acting like you're kind. And again, that's not kindness. That's not goodness. It's acting. Again, sometimes do the right thing. You have to say no. Nope. We're not letting anyone into the country right now. Until we can figure this shit out, nobody's coming in. And again, we have the right to shut that border. And again, we have got to understand that who are you being compassionate to? Who are you being kind to? The illegals or your fellow countrymen and women? And again, you got to remember, man, we will become the third world countries that they are coming from. Because again, we will take on their values. They are flooding the country. And we have to look out for ourselves, for our families, for our neighbors first. Our country first. And then everything else. And again, that's why some people, especially the ones on the left, they don't know what to make of Trump. Because they're not used to somebody actually being kind, actually being compassionate. They're not used to that. They're used to the fake compassion, the fake kindness. Because again, that's what everyone is.
Immigration status offenses should not be criminal offenses. They should be civil offenses. We shouldn't be ripping people away from their families because they didn't fill out the paperwork correctly.
Right. Alyssa, you got it.
Yeah, Elie, so congrats on the book, and I weirdly read the epilogue first, and what I was struck by, what you and I agreed on, well, we may disagree on some of the issues in the law, you did lay out a bunch of solutions. One of them is adding more seats to the House of Representatives, but you acknowledge those are really hard things to do. That's not something that I think either of us expect is going to happen in the next decade. So what do you see as sort of the marginal changes that are actually really tangible and realistic that could be put in place in the next few years?
I argue that we should eliminate all voter registration laws. Now, that might not sound realistic to you, but I promise you that it is, because we already have voter eligibility requirements, right? An eligibility requirement would be like an age limit, right? 18 to vote, I might say you should be 16, but I'm not gonna say 8. I've got an 8-year-old who does knock, but I've got an 8-year-old, right? We don't want them voting. But once you meet the eligibility requirement, why can't you automatically be registered to vote?
That's right.
Having the second step of voter registration needlessly suppresses the votes for no real benefit. Some people might say like, oh, it prevents voter fraud. First of all, no, it doesn't. Second of all, voter fraud doesn't exist. Right? If I say I want to go fishing somewhere, and you say, you can't go fishing there. I say, why? Because the Loch Ness Monster might get you. Like that. That's shut up. That's not a good reason to have a law, right? Let's get rid of that, right? So I think that if we open up the aperture to voting to more people, to get some of those 90 million people who stayed home on the couch, to get them to have easier access to the ballot, I think some of these larger changes that I talk in the book.
But they don't want that on that side. They don't want that.
It's funny. You know what they do want though?
Yeah.
They want voter ID.
Yeah.
They're.
The thing is, guys, it should be criminal. It should be criminal if you break into the country. That, again, you should be criminally charged. And that's the way it is. And that's the way it should say. Again, you are doing something physical. You're breaking into a country. It's not your country. It's not your country at all. But you're breaking into it. And again, why are you breaking in? Because you want the benefits of living here. That's why. And again, I don't blame people. But you do it the right way. Just because you want something doesn't mean you break the law and break in and take whatever it is. And again, same thing with breaking into a house. Now, I'm sure, Cotton Ball head over there would have gotten very upset if people broke into his house. But again, the country, don't care. And there's a reason why they don't care, because they know. People like him, they know that a bunch of Republicans will make him safe. We'll take care of it. We'll say no. Again, they can burst you signal, they can do whatever, because at the end of the day, they know there's some Republican that will stand up for them. Even though they're foolish and they'll give away the house. And again, they expect a Republican. And talking about white and black and all this. Again, they want some white Republican, white, strong Republican like Trump standing up for them. And again, man, I'm not being racist, but that's what people like him, they know. At the end of the day, they're like, you know what? I guarantee you, like, you know what? Trump's like, he's not going to allow that to happen. So again, we can pretend to be good all we want. Because, again, at least, there's Trump. And, and again, that is 100% true. 100%. And again, the reason why the Democrats want there to be a lower age for voting is because, again, the younger you are, the more liberal, the more leftist you tend to be. And again, they're banking on that. Because again, they're losing. Right now, they are losing the country. And they're panicking. Hey guys, man, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. You son of a.